On the call today are Keith Zivlich, COO of Blanchard Systems, and Fred Padilla, CTO. And Fred's going to actually be doing the demo today. Just to go through the agenda, today we're going to do a little introduction, give you a little bit of background, and then we're going to move on to do a demo, which is a little bit deeper dive from what we've done before. Frank, could you advance the slide, please?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
Did I not do it?
No.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me go ahead and do. And let me know if it updates this time.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that, folks. So just a little bit about the webinar. In your upper left-hand corner of your screen, you'll find a button that says Zoom with a percentage after it. And if you click on that, you can expand to the full image so you can get a full view of what we'll be doing today. We're going to be answering questions which you'll submit to us in writing through the GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar control panel. And you'll find a little area in there that you click on for questions. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll answer your questions. So just a little bit about Blanchard Systems. We're a software development and systems integration company. We were founded in 1992, headquartered in New Orleans. We are the developers of Send My Ad, Ad Portal, and Virtual Publisher magazine planning and production portal. We are also the North American distributors for DALiM Software, who is a company that has developed the software, the ES software we'll be demonstrating today. Fred, could you move us along?
Should be on the next one already.
No.
Not updating?
No. Oh, there we go. Oh. Very sorry, folks. A little technical difficulty here. So just a little bit about DALiM, and then we'll move into the demo. DALiM is a software design and engineering company headquartered in Germany. The company has been providing productivity solutions to some of the leading companies worldwide since 1985. In the United States, we've focused primarily on providing solutions to productivity solutions to publishers and publication printers. And today we're going to talk about ES4, which was introduced in 2009 as ES, and is an integrated media production platform that offers a complete solution for the management, production of media, regardless of the final output, print, web, ebook, movie, etc. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass things over to Fred, who's going to do our demo for us today. Fred?
Okay. Good day, everybody. Gary, can you all see my screen okay?
I can.
The login screen for ES, great. Thank you. All right. Well, when Gary had asked me to do this demo for the webinar, my first thoughts were, should be pretty easy. I do enough ES demos for everybody. Then I started looking at the registered users for the webinar and kind of noticing that you guys are all over the place. You got some photo studios, agencies, a few printers, packaging printers, and I thought, trying to keep this within half an hour to do a demo in all those different verticals would be pretty difficult. So what I kind of decided to do is, what I'm going to do is kind of a feature overview of ES4, touching on some of the points of how it can help with all those verticals, all in one product. So, as I've mentioned before to many of you, those of you who are new, ES is basically a product that lets you plan, execute, and control any aspect of media production regardless of the final use of the output. That is kind of DALiM's marketing feel on what ES is, along with the definition that Gary gave a little while ago. And, what exactly that means, we'll kind of try to show you through a presentation we're going to do today. So we're looking at the login screen. Pretty much everything I'm going to do today is going to be through a standard web browser. I'm in Safari, also works fine in Firefox, works in Internet Explorer. May show a couple of things in Acrobat just to open PDF files. Other than that, though, pretty much you're just using a web browser to interface with ES. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as a admin user just in case when the question and answer time comes up, I need to go into any specific areas to show more. So if you kind of, when I log in, it takes me back where I was before, kind of working on a project. I have a full list of all my different customers that I deal with, I've done demos for or whatever, because I'm an admin user. That can all be restricted specifically to whatever customers a user has access to. A little bit later, I'll probably log in as a webinar user. We'll only have access to the webinar jobs I see here. So first thing I kind of want to cover is, how ES would work for a photo studio or maybe an agency dealing with a lot of images. One of the newer features of ES in the ES4 product, we're now up to ES4.5, is the ability for it to basically view everything on a file system, a standalone file system. So traditionally, ES always worked within projects. So everything was uploaded to a project or submitted via hot folders. Now we can actually monitor a file system either through a CIFS mount or via JDF device, and actually view the contents of those file systems, ingest them into ES, track all the metadata for those pieces, and let us work with them at a file system level. So if someone's using a web native server or they're using something like an Elvis DAM system, we're able to monitor those file systems that those products are using as well, and also use the same metadata at a file system level that may be XMP data embedded inside the file. So what we're looking at is basically just a view of my images folder inside of a file system. It's a bunch of car images that I've kind of gone through. What we're looking at right now is a gallery view of those. We're able to take those, enlarge the view. If I want a larger thumbnail of the files, get a better idea of them. And everything that I actually see in this view is kind of customizable of what I want to do with it. These buttons and features are all customizable in what we call a smart view, which we'll cover a little bit later on. Same thing with a lot of the functions we have in the top right. All those, again, are customizable via our smart view, so that we give only the functionality we want to this view. So we have our gallery view here. We also have kind of a list view, so if you want to kind of go through a list view, we can add whatever columns we want on this list that give us information about the files. Nice thing about ES as well is that even though we're kind of looking through an asset management view here, behind the scenes, ES is still a workflow engine. We still can tie these assets as they come in to a given workflow that we define, and can basically have metadata stops where we're injecting metadata in the file, creating previews. We can put approval cycles in if we want these approved before they come into the system, and basically clean maybe the system out, delete files that aren't accepted. Any kind of workflow we can think of we want to do. Typically in the asset management view, we kind of keep it simple, maybe one approval or just straight through, so we just ingest them and read the metadata. We also are able to go into kind of our film strip view, so we're able to see our thumbnail down at the bottom of all the different images that we have. We can click on those, go straight to them, have a larger preview of the file shown in the middle, or we can actually go to our split view where we're actually seeing one image on the right, one image on the left, and can quickly go through those images. And Gary, if any of this isn't keeping up, just please let me know. It seemed to be a little bit lag earlier. So we're able to quickly go through those. If I want to go through a selection process,
you're doing fine.
One image, reject another image. So a lot of the features that you would find common to any asset management system that we'd want to go through selection of images. Also able to maybe select a few images, and if I want, I can go ahead and make a collection directly of those. So I can make a collection for the webinar, share that collection out later if I want. And basically all my collections go in the private collections area. just as a quick link to those if I want to use those in a project later and have access to them quickly or look through them quickly. Also, I'm able to do things like directly make a contact sheet of these files. I can use the interface, tell it how I want the contact sheet, give it a name, give it a header, select the layout, tell it what I want to display, whether I allow rotation or not, where the header is positioned, where the page numbers are positioned. Click OK, and basically, in my basket, it's going to go ahead and make a contact sheet and have it there ready for download. So you can download that contact sheet, open it up, and have my contact sheet ready to print out. If I want to crop or download one of these images at a different size, I'm able to do that as well. So I can select one of those. If I remember which one my correct one is, go to my convert workflow here. I'm able to tell it what type file format I want, so we can convert to JPEG, PNG, GIF, TIFF, Photoshop. Tell it what resolution I want, and even crop the image if I want. If I want to maybe just capture the grille of the BMW or something like that. A little cropping function can crop the image. Again, hit OK. It's going to go and get created inside of my basket as well, like we did before. So I'll refresh this basket. There we go. And download that image. And there's just a grille cropped how I want at the resolution that I wanted. So those are all actions that we actually can customize and create, so we can kind of give it functionality we want to give inside of there. Along with all of the kind of just viewing functions and stuff like that, DALiM's also worked very hard on creating kind of full asset management type search function. So first you were able to kind of just search through, do a generic search of files. So I'm kind of grabbing, and let me get rid of my previous search results there. Going through and all the images that are on the file, and let me go ahead and unselect those. Actually, that's my facets, sorry, from before. Kind of jumping ahead of myself here with some pre-selections. All right, now we have kind of all of the assets basically, since I'm wildcarded here, inside of our ES system. So this is all my PDF files, all my JPEGs, test files galore, all that exists inside my system. If I want to use a taxonomy, I can filter that information down where maybe I want only Mercedes and BMWs inside that are tagged that way, and only want 6 series BMWs and Mercedes SLs. Then I can delve further into that and go in the faceted searches and say, okay, I only want red and silver convertibles. So I quickly can filter through that information, see what I want, repurpose that information, or copy it into a new project. So great search functions, pretty fast on searching for content, easy to kind of get things and do what you need inside of projects. So it kind of covers, quickly how basically, studios, brands, agencies could use images inside of ES at the file system level. We're also able to do is kind of quickly go inside of a project here and see how we handle different things inside of a project itself. So again, that was file system level. At the project level, we can have a lot of different types of projects. So if I go inside my images project, this was just a bunch of images that were copied in. I change my view here. As my browser catches up. I can go inside this video folder, for instance, and see that we can handle video content inside of ES. So if I take this video here, I can open it up inside of my viewer and see basically I already have some annotations that are placed here in the timeline. So if I quickly kind of go through this, jump in, I can see what these annotations are. Or I can just play my video itself and have the annotations pop up as they need to. So there on the timeline, I'm able to put the annotations, and as you get through different areas of the video, kind of jump ahead there a little bit. And you'll see the annotations pop up. And to put a new annotation down, if I wanted to put an annotation near the end, if I was requesting some kind of a ending here, I could just quickly put the note there, drop a note, add it on a timeline, and then I can extend that note out at whatever time period I want inside the timeline. So quickly being able to annotate videos, put those, collaborate on videos. ES can also be tied to products like Route 6 and actually do high-end kind of post-production on videos tied into those systems via integration that DALiM has done. Somebody who's doing packaging work, same ES system can go in, different projects set up, completely different kind of project information over here on the right-hand side. The document information is different, so we can actually work on at a project level and look at these files as well. So for any of this, again, we just did annotations on a video file. I can do annotations and same kind of stuff on a print file. Obviously, this is just a PDF file. Put the annotations I need in here, mark it up. What we're looking at right now is DALiM's HTML5 softproofing tool. They also have a more fully functional Java version, but they are moving everything, all of the tools for that, into the HTML5 version to get away from some of the incompatibilities and issues that Java's had over the past a year or so, a little bit more than a year now, I guess. So kind of get rid of some of those security concerns. They're moving everything to an HTML5 softproofing suite that has a lot of the same functionality. We're able to do drawing, we're able to do annotations, we're able to do the text extraction that we had before, so I can select text directly from the file, annotate that text if I need to, able to do my measurements and make sure objects are the correct distance away from trim, for instance, or objects are the correct distance away from each other. I can measure area, and I'm able to do approvals and rejections through here as well. So if I needed to approve this, I can approve it. If I need to look at revisions, I can do a comparison between two revisions inside of here. So you'll see it'll actually bring up the first revision of the file in a second, and then basically do analysis of the two files. So it'll actually be flashing, and hopefully that comes over well and go to webinar. Hopefully you'll see kind of the green flashing of the barcode here, and this DALiM Software 2009 content that was placed over here above the logo. We're able to also do it where it's an overlay instead, so one on top of another flashing instead of the overlay, instead of the analysis version. So you see now you'll go between revision 1 and revision 2, where it's kind of doing a reveal. Or we can pull them up side by side. So we're able to, if we have color corrections or something that we want to actually grab, we're able to actually grab those in there, view those side by side, and see what's actually changed visually, see if the color corrections have changed. One of the newer features that DALiM has added to HTML5 version is that we're now able to track our monitor profile, and I can add monitor profiles. What it's missing from the full-featured version is the full-featured Java version has complete closed-loop calibration. We'll do calibration inside of the browser. Those libraries aren't available for HTML5 yet. So, but if you have a calibrated monitor, you're able to add monitor profiles through the interface and basically work in a calibrated environment as well, just not closed loop as it would be with the Java version. We're able to handle channels, so if I needed to turn off any channels, we're able to turn those off, view the file as well. So any kind of channel manipulation we need to do like that we were used to doing on any softproofing application, we're able to do. I have a densitometer tool, so I'm able to drag densitometer reading on a file, create notes of those densitometer readings, anything I need to do like that. It shows my note of my densitometer reading. If I wanted to ask for color correction, I could ask that in the annotation itself. Again, so that's kind of handling through packaging, and a lot of times a lot of our packaging customers actually have more complex project workflows. Some of you have seen Christoph Romer maybe do a presentation that's kind of has a full list of like 30 different milestones. Again, all that's customizable in ES, so we can kind of have it track whatever part of production we need to track, whether it's downloading the job instructions to the actual final material, artwork, whatever it needs to be like that. And then obviously we take all that, we go into our typical kind of publication or commercial print type workflow. In this case, we're actually going to be kind of have a version of the magazine that I did here. It's a 64-page book, but we could do these in any kind of format we wanted to, where it is a book plan like this. It just extends some different type functions to us. So we're able to go through our, again, different workflow for our pages. In this case, these pages have all gone through pre-flighting because we're connected to DALiM's workflow tool, Twist. So we can go through full pre-flighting, normalization of the file. We're able to map color spaces. So any of these files, if I get information on one of these pages, and we can kind of see what color space the pages we're in. We see these came in as CMYK. It came in with spot colors. Through ES directly, we can modify that color space, do the color conversion, and drive it through Twist to have that color conversion fixed by using ES as the interface to do that. So no matter who's submitting the files, we don't necessarily have to send them back to the customer for them to fix the files. We can fix them straight through the interface, or even give that out to the customer where they could actually do the fixing through our Twist systems, for instance. We also went through trapping, trap approvals, so I can set up as complex of scenario workflow I want, go through all the trapping I need to, or any pre-press functions in my workflow, till they finally got set. The interesting thing what I did with this project is basically I went ahead and did full impositions. So one of the newer functions in ES4 is now the ability to do impositions similar to the way the Mistral product that some of you have or have seen or worked with before. It works in the same way. It takes JDF templates that are created in products like Preps or Matrix. We upload them, basically create a library of them in ES, and then we can apply those using the ES interface. So if I double click here, we can see kind of how we can create it. It shows us the pages that are submitted here. I could actually swap pages out directly through this interface if this wasn't already plated. And gives us some basic information. Let's just do scaling, creep, offsetting, rotations. All that can be handled inside of this applet itself. We're also able to download PDF directly from here if we want, and basically show that we also have plates tied to a workflow. Again, everything kind of behind ES is done to conform to a workflow. So we could put approval cycles in here and basically have this last document step, instead of creating the PDF like I did and putting it back into my project, which I'll show you in a second, it'll actually create it and maybe send it to your plate setter after an approval and automatically plate the job. So all those type of workflow functions can be built into this, even the channel mapping and everything at a plate level. So if I come back here, show you, basically once I finalized all my pages, not until they went through final approval and were locked in position, because remember in ES I could drag and drop these pages if they weren't locked, and we're able to take those, create the impositions, and this is basically our high-res PDF imposition that I'm able to zoom in on, and this is what would actually be sent to the plate setter. I'll let a second to draw this full page, so you'll see as I zoom in, see this is the high-res PDF data created directly inside of ES. Nice thing with ES is that if I'm a printer or a prepress provider and I'm doing this kind of work and I'm doing impositions for customers, my workflow can be built where maybe I had an X1A came in originally, the file was converted to an X1 for plating at a process. By the end of the workflow, I could pick up the stage of the file back to the X4 and maybe use it to create an ebook version, a digital edition version automatically, and stitch the pages back together. So I can do that all within a print workflow that becomes a digital edition workflow. So inside of ES, what I'm able to do as well is enrich the files. So DALiM does provide an iPad app that can actually view these, or I can create HTML5. And strictly by creating annotations of this, basically in the Softproofing application, I'm able to do some basic enrichment to my file, or some nice enrichment to my file, for instance. So as I open this, I can do things like the typical add a web link to it. So when I launch that, it'll come in, launch the DALiM website straight inside of here. This is exactly how it would work inside of an iPad. Come back in, I've created a full table of contents. of my publication. So if I want to jump to a specific page, I can jump to that page. Again, show it in the viewer. This is a story for JWT. I have a video link. If I wanted to click that video, play the video full screen inside of there. This was the video we annotated, fixed earlier inside the video part of the presentation. Jump out of that. Come back a page. Actually, come back a couple pages. My Duo ad. So I'll be able to place images inside of here. Do a full kind of slideshow of our images. I can have email links in here. They've done a lot of work. They've fixed the interface a lot. I'm able to find any content I want to find on here, jump to a specific page. I do have kind of a slider where I can jump to a page itself. I have a thumbnail view, so I can view my whole layout, my whole book, jump to a page specifically if I want to. They've changed page modes as well. So what we've been kind of seeing is a single page mode that a lot of people ask for, kind of more the sliding view. There is still the ability to use the simulation mode where you have the kind of turning page applet type function that some people still like, some people are very tired of, but that is still available if you want it in there. And the nice thing in what they've done is they've actually created a view like that we're looking at right now that actually allows us to put annotations and allows us to put type functions like that and even approvals if the page needs to be approved. These pages are all approved already, so we don't have that. But I'm able to view annotations, I'm able to delete those annotations and do my approvals straight through kind of a virtual view of the book like this. So I can annotate basically the enrichments that I've done to the publication. Again, on this one, what we have is a project workflow. It's a little bit simpler, but we actually use it to trigger the digital edition creation. There's my DVL that was created of this. Basically, a DVL is DALiM's own format that works with their iPad app. I could have had it create a HTML5 book, ebook 3, so we can have it create a lot of things. And I'll kind of show you how a project workflow looks. Again, flexibility of what DALiM does, and they allow you to create workflows for all of this so you can customize exactly what you want the flow to be. Basically, in this project workflow, I'm waiting for an order to be received. I'm actually accepting that, and I'm not letting the project move forward until I've received an order. Then it sends event, allows pages to process through the workflow. I have a release digital edition step. So once all the pages are done, I'm able to then release that digital edition, and not until that point. Now I'm able to create those through RE publication generation. And through that, I can basically use parameter sets or configurations to define what type of ebook I'm going to create. This one I just did a simple DVL, but DALiM does support the different formats I talked about. So I hope that was a bit of a kind of quick overview. I was trying to keep it to half an hour. It looks like I did just about that. So please, if you have questions, you want me to show a little something else, we have a few more minutes and we're able to kind of go through those questions. I'll be happy to answer and show you any other details you want. Actually, one thing I should have shown that I didn't, since I do have a few more minutes, is smart views. Smart views are a way that we're able to customize what the view is that we're looking at inside of ES. As you saw, the first thing I showed with the images view, that's all done by using a smart view. We're able to create smart views if we want inside of ES that give a user maybe specifically the only view they're going to see of ES. So we can really simplify what their experience is in ES, keep them from all the menus, and only let them see what they need to do inside. So this is kind of just a couple of the new smart views they have where I'm able to see what my project workflow is, what my which milestone I'm at inside of my project workflow here, preview of the file. I'm also able to do like a dashboard view, where in a dashboard view, if I get rid of this deadline since I have nothing that's due in 2013, shows me a project overview, how many pages are in pre-flight states, how many pages have been aborted, how many pages have been approved inside of a project, and how many are expected overall on that project. So kind of kind of just an overview of my project statuses inside of ES. So all these smart views are customizable, where we can create and give you the views that you need for your customers so that they can log in and really simplify their experience. So hopefully that was informative for everyone. Keith, can go into any questions that we got?
Yep, it looks like we've got several great questions. As Fred had mentioned, we have a very diverse group on the call today, and looks like we have a successful turnout. But an indication of that, we have international people on who the first question was, does ES support multiple languages?
And the answer to that would be yes. It supports several languages. If I go ahead and look at a specific user, for instance, inside of ES, and actually let me just grab my admin user. Let's see. Oops, there you go. So for any given user, when I create a login for that user, I'm able to define a different language that they will be taken into when they log in. So some of these aren't fully functional, but they are available, and there is kind of a library that can be kept up to date to update some of this. But some of use the languages: English, German, French, Italian, Portuguese, common languages that may be used. But it is used around the world, and one ES system can control that strictly based on login.
Great. Let's see. Another question is, and I think this was kind of covered in the smart views, but is there a view to see just files that need to be approved?
Yeah, and that would be a smart view, one of the ones that I didn't show actually, if I remember which one it is. Basically, I can create a smart view that for my given user shows them the files they need to approve, shows me the progression bar, how far it is, who's up for approval, and that it needs to be approved. So you can quickly do that. It's kind of a common view a lot of our customers ask for. It shows you the different approvals that had already gone through as well. But a lot of people want to simplify view for some of their users or for their end customers, where they don't want them having to figure out what project files are in. This is throughout all different projects, all different files. And since I'm the admin user and I do all the demos as admin, you'll see there's a lot of files I need to approve still.
All right, let's see. Question about the contact sheet. Does contact sheets retain links to the assets it contains?
Currently, I do not believe it does. Let me move that back up. No, currently it doesn't. That's something I can find out from DALiM if there's a way to put those links in there with what they're using to create these.
Seems like it'd be something pretty easy to do.
It should be. Yeah.
Let's see. Another question. Can you package up assets into collections and share them with users that may or may not have an account in the system?
Yes, you can do sharing inside of ES. And really, I mean, any content I shared, for instance, if I shared the project itself, can actually go into sharing inside of here. I can select specific documents to select the whole project. If I select the whole project, in this case, it will actually be that DVL type look. I can either send them an email directly from here, or I can use just HTML code that I put in an email link or put on a website for them to get. I can date it, so it'll only be available between today and the 15th. Give it a description, and basically when I hit OK, it'll basically give me that link. In this case, since I did HTML, I can grab that. And go directly to that link. And actually, the way I did it, I have to do a login, but you can do it where it doesn't require the login. And basically, this is just a share that's available for people to come in and basically see a DVL view that I had in this case. Or this could be a file, a JPEG, a collection, as the question was. Any of that can be shared out through ES.
All right, we're already about 6 minutes over, but let's do one more question, and then there are other questions that we didn't get to the answer to. We'll be sure to follow up with those questions in an email back to you. But one last question, can projects be created automatically?
Yeah. Projects can be created in ES in a couple of different ways. I mean, my typical when I do a demo is I'm going to go into the job ticket and I create a manual ticket. I'm going through all my screens it basically uses a template to predefine a lot of the settings that we'll see in here, including our technical specifications. All this can be templated so that it's very easy for me to create a project. I mean, when I do my demos, basically I'm just giving it a name, and the template takes care of the rest. But if you have an MIS system or some kind of system that is JDF compatible, we can take the JDF file from that, ingest it through a hot folder or through an HTTP post into ES, and create those automatically inside of ES using that. We also have a full API that has an SDK available to it, so you can use an API, create maybe your own interface to create a project directly from that. And the API is actually pretty extensive. You can do a lot of the functions in ES through the API, but project creation is one of those.
All right, great. Thanks, Fred. I think that wraps up our August webinar for today. If you guys have any questions or you'd like to take a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the features you've seen or want to do a private demo, feel free to contact us and we'll get a webinar scheduled for you personally and go through the functionality for you. So we'd like to thank you for attending and have a great day.